We're just gonna run it. Why not? Fuck it. I'm feeling a little tired, but I want to do one anyway, so we're gonna do it. Okay, and let's just copy it in here, and then we're good to go. Good evening, whoever joins. This could be a bit of a quieter stream because I don't want to wake up my roommate. Sorry, additional coffee. As I've said, I'm wasting issues before my asthma acts up a bit this time of night. Okay, give about 5 minutes, and then if no one's here, I'll just get started anyway. Well, at least someone's here, so that's good. Yeah, so we can give 3 more minutes, then we'll get going. Hope whoever just joined is having a good night so far. I'm doing okay. I have an early morning draft game tomorrow. I decided instead of going to sleep, I'm just gonna stay up and play it tomorrow after staying up. It's very dumb, but I don't really care. So here we are. Let's get into. Let's go. I guess. Last night's late night stream actually got quite a few people surprisingly, so maybe tonight's will be the same. Who knows? We'll see. Just give it a couple more minutes, then we'll get going. Yep. Just wait a couple more minutes. Yeah, so just give it one more and then we'll get started. Let's go. For our first matchup of the night, we do have DJS versus 48. DGS is a very accomplished draft player. He's done well in individual tours, team tours. He's done well on both Smogon and both Showdown and Wi-Fi. Just a very good player. I think I beat him once. I'm pretty sure I hacked him. So yeah, very very good player. On the other side, we have 48, who I believe is 2-0 already. He has custom, so he's definitely pretty solid at the game at minimum. And yeah, he's on a tear 2-0 so far. He wants to obviously get that Frio to go for the bye. DJS looking to win his first game to try and get towards brackets. Drifting, I am not sick. I just have asthma, and so late at night, this is what my voice sounds like. And I cough a lot because that, yeah. No, I just have permanent asthma as a long-term COVID complication for a couple years ago. Is what it is. Anyway, going for the matchups here. I do see on DGS's side this. I think like a mixed D-Knight could be pretty good here, like Draco, Fire Blast, or Flamethrower, and like Superpower hits this team pretty hard. Milo's the only real check, but you can gain Jolteon on that, and Jolteon does have a ton of counterplay on 48 side. Like, surprisingly, like the best one is probably T-Tar, but T-Tar doesn't want to get warmed down because it's also important for keeping Gengar in check as well. Yes, like Scizor can check Gengar, but Gengar does risk it starts getting burned or get hit with HP Fire. I am noticing that there is no Ghost type on 48 side, so if he starts getting spikes up, this Quaidol can spin relatively free on some of the Pokemon like Donphan. I mean, the rest of the team pressures it pretty well. And then on DJ's side, we do have the Gengar, which is an okay spin blocker into Donphan. So Donphan is still a decent way to get rid of the spikes if it can like hit the Gengar with a Head Smash or a Stone Edge or an Assurance, but not gonna be the easiest time. DJ's Milotic does look. I'm sorry, 48's Milotic looks pretty solid here. Just how the Jolteon really breaks it. I could see like a taunt Gengar being useful here to wear it down. Guys, sorry everyone, it's worse than usual tonight. Usually it's not this bad this late, my apologies. Anyway, 48's T-Tar also looks very scary. This Polygraph is forced to come for it pretty much, and Polygraph doesn't have a bad matchup to be honest. Like, it's pretty decent to these top 5 except Brewium. Could definitely see like a physically defensive Polygraph doing a lot of work here, probably being toxic on the set as a way to chip down Milo. I can even see like Refresh Milotic in this game, like because one of the main ways to break it down is toxic here. So if it can refresh it off and then go into Donphan, Jolteon, or Brewium on Jolteon, that could help. Of that said, I think I'd go lean towards 48 on terms of the matchup here. Let's get into the game. DGS on the left, 48 on the right, and they're both going to be their top threats, D-Knight and T-Tar. And yeah, Dragon's going to fire off the turn 1 superpower, doing a clean 30 to Milo. Dragon's going to take a bit of Sand Chip here. In comes the Skarmory, as Milotic's going to recover off the damage. God, I'm really sorry. It's so bad tonight. Anyway, Skarmory's going to spike as the Manectric comes in. This Manectric's a big threat. It's been doing work for 48 all tournament. He is just going to toxic the Entei, wearing it down over time to gain these lefties and adding up with the Sand Chip. Milo's going to come in and get toxic by the Entei. I wonder if it's weighing refresh like I mentioned earlier. It very well could be. Anyway, switch out the Entei into Skarmory, and yeah, it is refreshed as I called. I figured refresh was just really good in this matchup, so I played this format way too much. I know this shit way too well. Anyway, we're going to get up spikes as the Donphan comes in. Donphan's going to get up rocks as Skarmory's just go rolled it out, get some chip on something. 16% on this Manectric that will start adding up. However, Manectric does force out the Skarm, and he's going to take Rock Chip and take a big Thunderbolt, yeah. Is in range of another one, but I presume the Manectric will switch out of Fear of E-Speed. No, it's just going to stay in. And it's going to go down. Gengar will come in on this Manectric and force it out. In comes the T-Tar as expected. Gengar's just going to Sludge Bomb, though. It's not going to do much. It poisons the T-Tar. If the Gengar's will, that can actually be really bad. Ooh, Gengar is going to miss the Focus Blast, and we know that it's Life Orb, so the Pursuit will knock it out. That's very unfortunate. We did not see an item on T-Tar, so it could be Chople anyway, in which case it probably will live the Focus Blast from a 56, but still unfortunate. Quaidol is going to take out the Tyranitar of Earthquake, but Gengar going down is really rough for DJS here. Skarmory's going to come in on the Scizor. Scizor can just free its U-turn of its life, yeah. Donphan comes in now. Gengar's down. Can freely spin, get rid of these spikes. Skarm's go. Brave Bird do pitiful damage to this Donphan and take a bit of recoil. And then we do see here the Manectric is going to come in pretty freely as Skarm puts a spike back up, but Manectric now faring a lot of offensive pressure. Claydol is forced in. Is the Manectric going to Tox again? No, it's going to Thunderbolt this time. So Claydol is probably going to force out this Manectric. Yeah, in comes the Milotic again, taking a spike. In DJS is going to spin away the rocks. Okay, it could be, that's pretty big for D-Knight for sure. Skarm is good coming on Milotic. Skarm is probably going to try and save a spike again if I had to guess. Milo's just going to surf doing some chip to Skarm, not that much. Skarm is going to be forced to roost if this Milo keeps surfing though. In comes Manectric. I assume Skarm's going to roost anyway, yeah. There's the Skarm, and Manectric is just going to force us out. In comes the Claydol, very obvious Toxic here. And 48 is just a really advantageous position so far. He is taking some chip from these spikes, but overall, let's say, I did not know Claydol gets refresh. I had no idea. I've never seen refresh Claydol. Wow, that's a new one. But I mean, calling correctly that the Manectric needs Toxic to do good damage with it, and probably the Donphan too. Refresh Claydol makes a lot of sense. I just have never seen that before. Very nice tech from DJS. Donphan's going to spin again. In comes Breloom. That is 48's last. Going to take very low from this Earthquake. Is going to Toxic Orb. Makes sense. Skarm is going to come in on the Spore. We saw a leftover, so he's not like a Lumberry or something. So Breloom's going to switch out into Manectric as in comes D-Knight. This Manectric probably has HP Ice though. It's going to switch out though, and Diaz going to go into Jolteon. Fair enough. Good double on both sides, honestly. Jolteon's good quick Heat Power, expecting the Milo to switch, but Milo's going to stay and fire off a big Surf. So that HP Ice is going to do literally nothing. Scissors going to come in. What's his good quick? Jolteon does quick Wish, so it might be a bulkier set. Quick Attack, though, is going to knock it out, getting rid of that Wish entirely. And at 58 makes me think the Scissors probably banded. Dragon's going to come in, quick Outrage, knock out the Breloom, but now just Milo can just come in, quick Ice Beam. He's not going to do, I mean, 53 is good damage, but Milo can just knock it out, yeah. And DGS has virtually no offense left. This game is probably over. Skarmy is going to come in, but it's asleep. It's just going to take a Surf here. The Surf is a 4-hit KO, so if Skarmy stays asleep long enough, it's really bad for DJS. We'll see how the sleep trends play out, though. One more Surf puts Skarmory in range, and Skarm did get the full sleep. That is going to lock up the game for 48. Obviously, Skarm's going down the Surf here, and then Claydol cannot 1v1 the rest of his team on its own. Earthquake is 27, Surf, yeah, no reason to, like, recover. I mean, Claydol differential does not matter in this tournament, as we removed that for this year pretty much, except for, like, buys and stuff, but 48 is just going to bring us Scissor. Explosion is going to crit, bring us down to a 2-0, but still a very clean win for 48 here. The focus pass with Gengar is real unfortunate, though. Obviously, letting it get Pursuit Trap by T-Tar was rough. Refresh on both sides was nice to see. We saw 2 Refresh Mons. That's definitely a move that I think is criminally underrated in DPP. It comes up a lot more often than you think. I wish more people would experiment with it. Like, seeing on Claydol something I've never seen before. Very, very cool. I did, like, call it Superpower D-Knight. And some other things, yeah, I mean, it's pretty basic prep from DJS and nothing too crazy from 48 side here. 48 just played really, really well and out-positioned DJS here. Move on to our second game. Second game of the night. We do have here. On the left, I believe we have Pokology on the left, Tiltapanda on the right. Pokology is a very well-known ADV draft player, but I believe he's actually 0-1 going into this game, if I remember correctly. Tiltapanda is either 0-1 or 0-0. I don't think we've seen this team yet. I'm pretty sure he's 0-0. So Pokology also looking to bounce back and make his way into brackets by winning his next 2. Tiltapanda wanting to get off on the right foot. So interesting enough, we see a Heatran Raikou mirror here. Both Heatrans actually look very strong into these teams, although this Gastron has a decent Heatran check, but HP Grass can smack it pretty hard. But Pokalogy's Heatran, on the other hand, is pretty much uncheckable on Tilted Panda's side. You might want to run like a fatter Gator or maybe like a Shucka Tran to try and catch a non-Shucka Tran on Pokalogy's side, but that's rough. Moltres can run like HP ground, but it hates rocks, and technically Heatran can run like Stowage if it really wants to. In terms of the Raikos, I will say Pokalogy's Raikou looks very strong here. Donphan obviously is a decent switch in, but he does get worn down. He doesn't take special hits the best. Tilted Panda's Raikou is also looking good, but this Gastrodon does kind of sit on it. But Gastro does not get Clear Smog in the Gen or Haze. That's pretty good. They're both 0-1. Thank you, Time Kitsune. My apologies. Thank you for letting me know. So I guess this is a game for both their lives, and then the winner stays alive in the tournament. Yeah, I watched so many games I lose track of everyone's records. Wait, these are triple mirror. Heatran, Raikou, Gallade mirror. I didn't even notice that. That's wild. I guess we'll talk about the Gallades next. Tilted Panda's Gallade looks fantastic here. There's no fighting resist. I can see just running Scarf and just like quick and close combat repeatedly. Pokalogy also looks really good with Gallade. I mean, this Moltres probably does have to come then just to check the Gallade. But that's not a great position to be in because rocks from Heatran are very easy to get up for Tilted Panda. I mean, for Pokalogy. There is Donphan which can spin them, and Ghastly probably isn't coming, but it's still like not ideal. And of course, the Rainbow on Pokalogy's team is very strong here. The only real switch-in is maybe the Toxicroak, and that's stretching the definition of a switch-in. Kingdra just walking into like Specs Dragon Pulse in the rain is very scary. Especially if Heatran gets worn down early. Yeah, I do think I have to give this matchup to Pokalogy. His offense is just so potent here. Tilted Panda's similar Pokemon can do some work. For Algier, particularly, looks pretty solid here. Like Waterfall, Earthquake, and then just me. I don't even necessarily need Dragon Claw for Kingdra. You can just like run Waterfall, Earthquake, and just chip down a Kingdra. So let's get into this triple mirror match. Very interesting. Pokalogy on the left, Tilted Panda on the right. Qwilfish lead into Donphan. The Qwilfish is just going to have a spike. Toxicroak's going to quick Swords Dance, but Qwilfish is just going to boom, taking them both out. That Toxicroak going down is big. Donphan's going to come in wanting to spin, but Kingdra can just come and Draco Meteor it. That is a very special defense of Donphan taking that Draco Meteor with like just nothing. Well, no, he's nothing but for a Donphan. It's going to have the Salak Berry, but it's still slower. And Kingdra's just going to get up a Rain Dance, hit with an Ice Shard. But Kingdra, oh my god, Focus Energy in the rain. What the hell? Ice Shard is going to knock it. It's mixed. Oh my god, mixed Waterfall Draco Meteor. What the hell is this set? That Waterfall's going to do 70 to Gallade. Gallade will knock out the Kingdra with Leaf Blade back, though. Raikou comes in here. In comes Espeon. Interesting switching. Thunderbolt's not going to do much. That's a very specially defensive Espeon as well. Raikou is going to start Calm Minding as Espeon clicks Wish. This is going to do over 50. Espeon's going to Baton Pass out into Gallade. Gallade will heal up, but this Raikou's still in a very scary position. But the Gallade reveals to be Scarf, and it gets off an Earthquake, doing a ton of damage to this Raikou and forcing it out. Flygon's going to come in as Gallade obviously has to quick Earthquake again. Espeon's going to be the sack to Flygon's Earthquake. And Heatran also goes down to this. Flygon just win the game. Oh my god, it does. Yeah, I mean, Tilted Panda, he didn't bring his Moltres, which was like the one check for Algier. Also, maybe he could have taken a hit, but yeah, wait, why did he Shallow Ball? You have to click Extra Sensory and go for the flinch again, I guess. Yeah. And then Scarf Gallade, but it doesn't matter. Like, he can't take on the rest of the team. For style points, Pokalogy's gonna bring out the Scarf Ghastly. Wow. I mean, yeah. Very big win for Pokalogy here. That Flygon went crazy. Kingdra went crazy. I mean, it was a very offensive matchup, and I did think it was in Pokalogy's favor. I'm not too surprised. We didn't even see like Heatran come out if it was. I assume it was brought, but very convincing win by Pokalogy. I mean, he just kind of kept on the pressure and never really let off the gas, and that's how you win these offensive matchups. Good job by Pokalogy on that one. Let's get into the next game. For game 3, we do have Zalvadore versus Noble. I'm not even going to try. I don't remember these people's records, so I'm not going to worry about it. So let's just look at the matchup itself. First thing I'm noticing is outside the Lucario, this T-Tar goes crazy here. Lucario is pretty strong though, but it's checked by like the combination of Hitmontop, Mismag, and Qwilfish. we do see Flygons on both sides. You do have to watch out for the Scarf Flygon if you're Salvadore revenging your T-Tar, but you do have Bronzong, which is an insanely good switch into Scarf Flygon. Salvadore's Flygon also looks pretty good, but Rotom is not the worst stopgap to it. In fact, Rotom looks pretty solid for Noble here. You just have to deal with the T-Tar. I mean, T-Tar is obviously a huge problem. In One Berry, T-Tar specifically could be very scary because Rotom's main way to deal with it is Will-O-Wisp. I will say the hazards from Salvadore's side do look kind of scary. Mismagius can spin block Starmie semi-effectively if it runs a lot of bulk investment. And I presume it will here. It might run speed for Lucario and then run a ton of bulk. Yeah, we do have two pretty fat teams here. I will say, I think Noble's Lucario does look very scary though. Yes, there's a couple checks to it, but it is pretty scary. Bullet Punch, especially with priorities, big into the Mismag, potentially into the Flygon. Yeah, I think, I don't know, this is pretty even, though. I can't give the matchup to either side. Let's get into the game. Salvadore on the left, Noble on the right. The Qwilfish is going to be Sash as it takes the Earthquake from Flygon. Revealing the life orb, Qwilfish is going to live and switch out into Bronzong, but Fire Blast with the life orb is going to do 53. Another one will knock out, so Salvadore is just going to sack his Qwilfish here. Flygon is down to 70% now. In comes the T-Tar. This is, yeah, I was going to say, is telegraphing a hell of a Scarf. It does Ice Beam there, knocking out the Flygon. This does land Lucario, however. In comes Bronzong. Lucario's just going to crunch. That's to do virtually nothing. It is going to follow up with a close combat, which will knock out the Bronzong. Salvadore's own Flygon comes in as the Starmie is the switch on Noble's side, but Earthquake's going to do a ton. It is also a Life Orb Flygon, so both sides brought Life Orb on their Flygons in this game. Starmie's going to force out the Flygon as it quicks recover. Mismagius is going to come in, so he can't spin. In comes the Empoleon on it. And Mismagius is going to start Calm Minding. Oh my god. That is extremely frightening. Thunderbolt's going to do 60 to Empoleon, and Empoleon's going to get paralyzed, but it doesn't get fully paralyzed. They can roar it out. Bring in T-Tar. Not the best T-Tar matchup, but he does quick superpower, knocking out the Empoleon. Rotom is going to come in, obviously getting a free switch in here. It's just going to fire up a Shadow Ball, though, I assume predicting Mismag or the Flygon, but Chansey is revealed as the 6th Pokemon. Starmie is going to come in. It can take anything Chansey wants to do with Natural Cure, but T-Tar is going to be a switch in. It's going to Pursuit, not knock out the Starmie. Starmie's going to Thunder Wave. This is going to completely cripple that T-Tar with it being obviously Scarf, unless Chansey's running Heal Bell, which it could be, to be fair. T-Tar's going to keep cooking Pursuit, and then Chansey's going to come in as the Starmie recovers again. Starmie is going to just paralyze the Chansey temporarily. Obviously, he'll heal off after. And the Chansey does reveal Aromatherapy, so that means this T-Tar is back to being at full strength. Starmie's just going to Thunder Wave again, as Chansey's get Toxic, eventually forcing out this Starmie to heal itself with Natural Cure. Starmie is going to switch into Rotom here, as Chansey is fully paralyzed. Rotom's just going to trick its Choice Scarf onto Chansey, making Chansey pretty weak for the rest of the game, but it can honestly still do stuff. It still is a really good switch into Starmie and Rotom. Chansey is good Toxic. It's just going to stay and keep Toxicking Rotom. Good play by Salvadore, not wanting to let anything get burned. Chansey is a quick Toxic again, but this gives Lucario free entry. Firehand's going to come in. Let's Lucario go quick. It's just going to crunch again, calling the Mismagius switch in, but that is not going to work out. Flygon's got Earthquake into this Rotom, but Outrage looks really strong here with it. With the chip. Or Draco Meteor, that makes sense for a Life Orb set. And that's just going to knock out this Rotom from 65. In comes Kangaskhan. Yeah, let's say it's definitely going to take this Life Orb Earthquake very easily. And it's going to knock out with Return. HP fighting on the Mismagius will knock out the Kangaskhan, though. In comes Starmie, but we know Mismagius is faster anyway. It's a slower Starmie, so Shadow Ball's going to knock it out. And then this Lucario probably can't win the game on its own here, I presume, because we still have the Scarf T-Tar in the back. HP fighting on Mismag will take it out, and that's a 3-0 win for Salvadore. I mean, he plays pieces very well. I really like the Calm Mind Mismag here. The double of Scarf, I mean, no Life Orb Firehouse makes sense to both these teams. They both have some fat you'll want to break down. Nothing else too crazy. We saw a lot of paralysis spam this game as this common DDP. Aromatherapy on Chansey was a very good bring, predicting something like T-Char to get paralyzed. And yeah, just a pretty good prep on both sides. Salvador is going to take home the 3-0 win here. Okay, on to game 4. We do have here, Volty Pichu, Crying on the left and Volty Pichu on the right. Crying is, as I mentioned last time I watched him, one of the best DPP players out there. Not DPP, one of the Smogon players out there, I mean. And also, I assume really good DPP. I don't know exactly what his Smogon resume is, but he won his first game very dominantly from what I remember. And then we see Volty Pichu here on the other side, who I believe they're both 1-0 going into this game, if I remember correctly. So the winner of this will advance to brackets. Volty Pichu is pretty much a standard rain build here. Kingdra, Swift Swimmer, Zapdos, Uxie, Donphan. Very standard. And Crying has a more balanced team here. This Kingdra is looking pretty good. However, Blastoise and Roserade and T-Tar combined can maybe slow it down a bit. On Crying side, this Rotom looks very difficult for Volty Pichu to deal with. Not much really wants to come in on it and hit particularly hard. Even Dusknoir doesn't really want to. Electric Ghost Water hits this team very hard. We see a Tauros here. I didn't even notice that's kind of funny. Two people grabbing the same mon for their 110 speed makes sense. Crying's T-Tar looks very, very strong here. All you have to do is chip the Donphan and it just goes to town for Dragon Dance. Or even just a Scarf. I can see Scarf Crunch. Scarf Crunch is fantastic here. Actually, there's no Dark Resist. Yeah, Scarf Crunch just kind of goes to town on this team. We do see Roserade Spikes are okay, but Donphan can't spin them with no Spin Blocker on Crying side. Amistar Spikes are actually very worrying for Crying because that Dusknoir outside of Rain is a pretty good Spin Blocker for the Blastoise. I'm pretty sure Crying definitely brings his top 6 here. The bottom 2 have no place in this matchup. And Volty Pichu, he might drop something for Dusknoir. It would probably be the Tauros if I had to guess. But Tauros isn't bad here by a margin. I think I'm going to slightly lean Volty Pichu on the matchup. Honestly, Kingdra looks so strong. But actually, no. I'm going to go with Crying because T-Tar's so powerful in this matchup. And Rotom's pretty difficult for Volty to break down. So let's hop into it. Crying on the left, Volty on the right. We see a Swampert lead into a Tauros. Tauros is going to fire up a Toxic as Swampert gets up its rocks. In comes T-Tar on the Tauros. What's Tauros going to click? Just return, do some tiny bit of chip to this Tyranitar. And T-Tar's just going to Toxic the T-Tar. What's T-Tar going to click? Yeah, Crunch. I mean, this looks like a physically defensive Tauros based on the lefties and the Intim and that Crunch damage. It's just going to protect to continue getting Toxic chip on this T-Tar. Tyranitar also revealing lefties, meaning that it's not like a choice set by any means. In comes the Amistar as Blastoise comes in. Following up, the Sam boost from his own T-Tar is going to make this Amistar a bit harder to break. They'll trade Toxics. The classic DPP Toxic trade. Or just really old Gen Zero Toxic trade. But we're going to take some chip. And Blastoise is going to reveal Refresh, staying healthy as Amistar clicks Spikes. Blastoise can just spin here. But he's actually going to go into Roserade instead. Getting knocked off for his troubles, but losing any focus, that doesn't really matter when you come out of Spike anyway. We see a Uxie come in here on the Toxic Spike. Guys get up rocks, so lots of hazards on both sides. Roserade is also going to Spike here. Wow, tons of hazards on both sides here. Uxie's going to Psychic, do a ton to Roserade, but it's not going to knock out. Roserade's going to get up a second Spike here. Blastoise is going to come in. It's going to try and spin. Uxie's going to Energy Ball. That's going to do virtually nothing. Blastoise is going to miss a Toxic, though. Wow. That's very unfortunate. Uxie, he really could use that chip there. And it also means he's going to have to take his Energy Ball. He probably has to spin this time or just Toxic again. I guess, no, is Blastoise too able to come back in? Is he going to be able to get rid of the hazards? I don't think he can. That's really rough. Blastoise is going to protect this some extra trip on Uxie, but, these hazards are going to be a bit of a problem for Crying, I think. He is going to switch out the Blastoise, save it as sack fodder. In comes T-Tar. It's going to take the Energy Ball from Uxie, doing virtually nothing. I mean, it's a Uxie, what do you expect? Super effective, 11%. It's also a pretty fat T-Tar, if I had to guess, based on damage. Yuxi is going to continue chipping at this T-Tar, but T-Tar's just going to reveal Rest. Oh my god. Wild T-Tar set. You do not see Rest T-Tar very often, and Yuxi will go down to the Toxic Poison there. Kingdra will come in, take a ton of chip from the hazards and the poison. Surf is not going to knock out the Tyranitar, only doing 55. Sleep Talk and T-Tar's go Roar, bringing in Zapdos. Ooh, that's a lot of damage on Zapdos right there. And Kingdra's going to take a ton when it comes back in. Zapdos is going to Thunderbolt just bouncing off the T-Tar. It's going to Sleep Talk again, and it's going to get Rest this time. But it can Rest again next turn. I'm a big fan of this T-Tar set. Just super split off with Crunch and Roar, because obviously Roar gets his team, as he was able to get so many hazards so effectively, and Crunch obviously has no resistance, so it's pretty free damage. Zapdos just to get Thunderbolt again, but T-Tar's go Roar it out, forcing in the Tauros to take another 29% and Toxic and Poison Chip. And Sand obviously means the leftovers won't heal, so Tauros down to just 23% now. Switching out the Tyranitar into Rotom-Mow. On the return, it's going to obviously take nothing, it's immune. And Tauros is going to take more Poison Chip. Tauros is going to Toxic the Rotom, and Rotom can just knock it out once, or it's going to Substitute. Okay, getting that Toxic off is huge then. Interesting. Yeah, it does have optimization. Tauros is going to go down. In comes Zapdos. Zapdos is going to Roost, take the opportunity to Roost up, but oh my god, Rotom is also Rest Substitute Rotom. I can't remember the last time I saw Rest and Substitute on the same set. That's wild. Thunderbolt's going to do literally nothing. Sleep Talk on the Rotom as well. Sleep Talk. Substitute Sleep Talk. What is this Rotom set? And Firebolt is going to break the sub. What's Rotom going to click? Sleep Talk is just going to pull Rest twice in a row. What's its last move is the question. It's going to wake up here, obviously. Let's roll real quick. It's just going to sub on the Zapdos. We see that Thunderbolt does not break it still. This is a very interesting team we see from Crying here. Thunderbolt obviously does nothing. What's a good click? It's just going to be Shadow Ball as his last move. With the Tauros down, nothing resist set, and the Spadef Drop's going to make Zapdos unable to roost up on it for too long. Thunderbolt breaks the sub, but Rotom can just Shadow Ball here. Yeah, it does 46. Crying is just in complete control of this game. Toxic off on the Rotom as it goes for sub, but we know that's not going to matter. This Rotom is Rest. Kingdra's going to come and take a ton of chip here as Rotom's going to Rest. So it's going to try and take advantage of that, but the Kingdra's so low already. I mean, these hazards are just doing Volty in completely. Volty's spinner was a Donphan, presumably was left on the bench because he hasn't brought it out yet. And Surf is going to break Rotom's sub. Rotom's just going to Sleep Talk here, obviously. He's going to get Shadow Ball. It is and knock out the Kingdra. I mean, I don't see what Volty can possibly do here. It reveals the last Pokemon named Dusknoir. But I guess he's going to be taking so much chip every turn. Rotom's going to Sleep Talk again. Pull the Substitute. Oh my god. Dusknoir Nightshade will break that. Rotom's HP stat is very low. But he can just spam sub and Rest here until Dusknoir goes down to Poison. Or he can just Shadow Ball. That works too. Dusknoir is going to Nightshade here. Getting Rotom kind of low, but he can just Rest again. Dusknoir is going to go down here. You're going to bring the Amistar, but Amistar is definitely slower. Yeah, Rotom's just going to sub here. Is Amistar going to be able to break the sub? It does with Surf, so Rotom will be forced to Rest here. It's going to do just that. I mean, this Rotom just walled the entire team pretty much. Surf doing barely touching this Rotom. Wow, what a wild Rotom set. I have never seen Substitute Rest Sleep Talk before, but I mean, it worked. It's insane, but it fucking worked. Yeah, I mean, he's just going to go out to Tauros. You might as well not sack your Rotom. I'm just going to Surf. Tauros is going to take that, and then Zapdos just going to die to the rocks anyway. Yeah, Zapdos going to come and take the rocks, and that's going to be a 5-0 win for Crying. A very dominant performance with this really interesting team. I mean, we saw the Rest, Sleep Talk, Crunch, Roar, T-Tar with all these hazards. I mean, this is just a very clear and focused game plan from Crying. Get up hazards with Swampert, get up hazards with Roserade, and just spam them. Sub, like, Rest bullshit until the opponent team went down, and it worked. Volty Pichu just could not get through all the passengers, could not break down them. Crying's team at all. Very well done by Crying, a very cool gameplay, and just, like, I mean, super dominant win here. Crying really cementing himself as well as the players to beat for this tournament. Okay, on to our next game. I believe, yeah, next game is the halfway point. We're getting to game 5. So let's go hit it. We have Ome versus Endgame. On the left, we have looking at this matchup here. I believe this is each of the first games. Endgame might already have played one. I don't remember. But anyway, Ome versus Endgame. This Zapdos looks very strong on Ome's side. The Hippo can check it. The Clef can check it. But it's going to be also very useful defensively for slowing down the Starmie and the Roserade. On the note of that Roserade looks pretty interesting here. Getting up hazards is not too hard, but one thing is Fortress can spin them. Albeit Roserade can't run HP Fire was the big thing, and HP Fire is going to roast that Fortress in 2 hits for sure. Maybe with special defense with Aka, it might not in 2 hits, but it's still going to do a lot of damage. Endgame's Dragonite looks crazy here. I mean, the Dragon is a Fortress that falls over to Fire moves, obviously. So as long as he doesn't get locked into Outrage and Fortress comes in and booms, that Dragonite looks really strong. Celebi on Ome's side is another Pokemon that's very good here. I mean, it stabs and won't hit most of the team. Oh, I just didn't even notice there's a Fortress mirror. I didn't even notice the Fortress on Endgame's side. But so you see 2 Fortresses, but Endgame's Fortress looks a lot better because there's no Ghost type on Ome's side. Meaning that obviously if Ome wants to keep up hazards, it's gonna be a lot more difficult. Endgame basically has a 6-mon team here. So I mean we pretty much know what's coming. But overall, I don't know, they both have like good offense, good defense. I think I lean towards Ome slightly on the strength of Zapdos and Celebi, but D-Knight very well can just like cleave through this game with certain sets. Let's get into it. On the left we have Ome. On the right we have sorry, I'm already forgetting the name. I'm tired. The right we have Endgame. Yeah. Let's get into the game. We see a Celebi just nasty pawn turn 1 as the Fortress comes in. Sure, he has HP Fire. In comes the Clef on HP Fire. That's going to do 26. Let's Celebi get quick into this Clef. Sure, he has a move that does a ton of damage here. Psychic does 57 to Clefable. Clefable's going to Encore, so maybe Endgame can take advantage of that. Fortress is going to come in, but this Psychic's going to do a ton. Yeah, I was about to say, that's going to do a lot of damage here. Celebi is going to be forced out as Fortress does potentially have Bug Bite, or it's just going to stay in, never mind. Fortress is going to get up a Light Screen. Wow, that's not something you see every day. And now it is forced out of the Fear of the Boom. And this Fortress just does reveal it has the Bug Bite. Yes, as I figured. Fortress on Fortress. Ome's going to get up Rocks, and Endgame's going to get up a Spike here. And Endgame is going to spin, and Ome's also going to spin. So there's hazards trading spins here, as Fortresses tend to do. Celebi's going to come in as the Fortress, as Endgame's Fortress gets up another Spike. Celebi is very famous with HP Fire. In comes the Roserade. It's going to take some chip, but that Roserade is fine enough to easily take it. However, a Psychic will do a ton of damage here, so I'm not sure what the game plan is. Yeah, I was going to say, maybe use Payappa, but he's not. The Roserade's just going to go down. This Celebi is putting immense pressure on Endgame's team. Psychic doing 40 for a D-Knight as it's going to Dragon Dance, but I don't think a Fire Punch KOs, so you might have to lock an Outrage here. But Fortress needs to come in on that. Dragon's just go Roost, though. That makes sense. It's a bulkier set. Presumably he has Fire Punch, so Ome's going to go hard into Kabutops. It's Life Orb, so that explains the Roost because he doesn't want to take too much chip from Life Orb and Sand. Outrage will knock out the Kabutops here, but Fortress can just come back in after. Yeah, Fortress could come in. I presume it's going to boom here to eliminate the threat. Dragon's going to Outrage to 54. That's a lot of damage, but yeah, Fortress is going to eliminate his Dragonite, and that was one of Endgame's main pieces to break down Ome's team. That's a huge threat gone. Celebi's going to come in, force out the Clefable, Quick's Nasty Plot. Clef, I guess, could have encored there, but it was a risk. But now this Celebi looking fantastic. It's going to Grass Knot Oko the Hippowdon. Wow. He does have to bring a Starmie, but there's no Ice Beam KOs. Never mind. A huge Ice Beam crit. Oh my god, that Starmie. I think Celebi where we just won the rest of the game without that crit because Grass Knot surely knocks out Starmie, and then you can KO the Clef in the Fortress. That crit is very unfortunate for Ome. That basically saves Endgame in this to see if he can get back in. We see Ambipom here. It's going to try and pursue the Starmie, but Starmie's going to stay in. Surely with a Life Orb hit, yeah, it just knocks out the frail Ambipom. Oof, this is really bad for Ome. Losing his Celebi, that's very unfortunate. In comes the Suicune, but Starmie can just Thunderbolt. Or recover, even. So 2 recovery Life Orb Mons on Endgame side is interesting. Surely the Starmie has Thunderbolt, though. Yeah, Thunderbolt's going to do 41 to this Suicune. Suicune's going to continue Calm Minding, but it's going to get well here. However, it might still be able to win this game if it can take out the Starmie. Thunderbolt again gets the Suicune very well. What's Suicune going to click? Is going to reveal Surf, knock out the Starmie. think Suicune will clean this up. In comes Clef, but surely +2 Surf knocks it out. Yep. And we see Fortress whole moveset. Even if Surf doesn't knock it out, like he can just bug right there. Yeah. So Ome's going to win. That's Celebi putting on immense pressure early on. It would have been a much higher differential if he didn't get crit, but I mean, he still won, which is what matters. Yeah, fantastic Celebi set here. Nasty pot of lefties and just kind of breaking everything down. I really like the Light Screen on Fortress. That was very smart tech to try and slow down Celebi. It was just a little not enough really. We do see D-Knight here. I don't know if I get the outrage on Liquid Ups. Just lose stacking your D-Knight for nothing, which is one of your primary ways of breaking down stuff like Celebi and Suicune. And Suicune's just going to clean up in the end game once Rose Red goes down, which was sort of the main responses to it. Yeah, pretty good win by Ome. Lost some differential from the crit, but doesn't really matter. And I believe that's a pretty, yeah, it's nice for him. So let's move on to our next game. Yep, our next game we do have, if my computer will load eventually. Game 6. We have Jake versus Shine. So this Jake is Tech Froakies Jake. He's been in drafts since pretty much since the format was invented back in Gen 6. He's a very old draft player. Top tier player in team tours. Very well known for that and for doing some individual tours too. I believe he's already 1-0 in this tournament. I think Shine is also 1-0. Shine is a friend of mine from some other servers, but Jake is definitely the favorite to win here as in terms of just like player skill. We do see it's a Snorlax Slowbro Mirror, which is a pretty solid defensive core in general. I will say, however, Shine's Lucario is pretty decent at breaking it with like a special set with like Aura Spear and Dark Pulse. Looks very, very frightening here. And you can run Vacuum Wave, which smacks Infernape pretty hard too, especially if you have a Nasty Pot. On Jake's side, we do see this Azelf looks okay here. I mean, the Weavile can Pursuit Trap it, but if it's stop packing Ice Shard, which honestly Weavile doesn't need to pack Ice Shard here, I could see a Salic set on Azelf doing a lot of work. So we see a Snorlax is into 2 fighting types, but they both are still pretty good offensively. Especially Jake's Snorlax looks really good with like a Banded set. Just clicking Return to Bias Slam into things and doing huge damage. I'm actually a big fan of Jake's Electivire here. It can kind of sit on Zapdos to an extent and hit most of the team really hard. I can even see like a fatter Electivire set with like Toxic, Protect, lefties doing well into Zapdos. Like Toxic Protect lefties, like Thunder Punch Cross Chop or something to hit the Snorlax, maybe Low Kick. Or probably Thunderbolt Low Kick, because that way you hit the Slowbro harder. That could be very effective in this game. Jake's Infernape, I mean, his Infernape looks okay, but it looks pretty good, but Slowbro, Arcanine are decent stopgaps to it. However, I mean, yeah, I do think, this is a pretty even matchup. Both sides have, like, Institute Charge threats. Surprisingly, I think this Electivire on Jake's side might be the key to victory if the Bomb 2 don't show up. So let's get into the game. Jake on the left and Shine on the right. We see Infernape bleed and Weavile's going to be forced out here into Zapdos. Infernape's just going to U-turn, doing a tiny bit of damage to Zapdos. In comes Registeel, aiming to get up rocks, obviously. Zapdos just gonna get some yellow magic going and paralyze the Registeel. Rocks are going to go up, though. Jake is going to reveal the Vileplume coming in here. Wait, was this also a Vileplume here? 1 second. What the fuck? Oh my god, this is a Snorlax, Slowbro, Sandslash, Vileplume mirror. How the fuck did not only are they're 2 low tiers, they have a mid tier and a high tier. Holy shit. What the hell? This might be the first 4-mon mirror we've seen in this tournament. In Snorlax, Slowbro, Vileplume, Sandslash is definitely not the 4 mons I would put together there. Oh my god. Very funny. So anyway, Jake's Vileplume is going to come in on Zapdos U-turn. In comes Snorlax, very frightening. It's just going to buy Slam. Only doing 9% to this Registeel though. Red's just going to force out the Snorlax as Azelf comes in on the double. Very good into Slowbro, clicking Thunderbolt, but it's going to get, I thought it was going to be paralyzed for Rolls, but get Toxic. Could be worse than you could have gotten paralyzed. Azelf is just going to quick Thunderbolt again, doing negligible damage to the Snorlax, but without leftovers, this thing is getting chipped. And Verm's going to come out on Snorlax, as Snorlax is going to start cursing. This is obviously a rest set based on his playing it. Shine does reveal to be Chople though. But it's going to rest. That's unfortunate rest turn because that means that now it's getting to a KO. This Snorlax needs to pull Body Slam with Sleep Talker. It's going to be useless. It is not going to get. It's going to get cursed. I'm not sure if Close Combat kills here. Even if it doesn't, yeah, Close Combat's going to knock out. Shine really needs to take the opportunity to Body Slam there instead of resting on the Chople turn. I mean, this Infernape's a huge threat, and now you just let it take out your Snorlax for free, which will love your best Pokemon. Infernape is going to U-turn out on Sandslash. Sandslash is going to remove the rocks from Shine's side, though. Toxic is going to come out on the Slowbro chipping it, and Sandslash is also going to get Toxic. Presumably expecting either the Slowbro or the Zapdos to come in. Shine's going to bring in their Zapdos, but Slowbro's going to double Toxic. Oh no, that's really rough for Shine. Vileplume's going to come in, take the discharge. Will it get paralyzed? No, it will not. But it is just going to U-turn out. What's the Vileplume going to click on as the Weavile comes in? Aromatherapy, that's going to heal off some of the status conditions on his team. Let's go back and turn and see what all was status. It's going to heal off the Toxic on the Azelf, the Toxic on the Slowbro, and the Paralysis on the Registeel. That's a huge swing in tempo for Jake. That's a very profitable aromatherapy. The Weavile is going to click Night Slash, and Vileplume's going to click Healing Power. Is that HP Fire? I might be HP Rock. I feel like it might be HP Rock because else is the Zapdos. Either way, it's going to do a ton of damage. Crit Night Slash and Dice Punch will take out the Vileplume, but Infernape's also a huge threat. Just going to U-turn out, frightening out the Zapdos there. I mean, the Weavile there. Registeel comes in on Zapdos again. Zapdos is going to Thunder Wave. Is Registeel is going to boom here? No, it's going to get the rocks back up. That makes sense. And it was the Sandslash getting worn down. It can only spin so many times. Registeel is going to get fully paralyzed here. But Zapdos is getting low. It's going to have to Roost Tune, but it's just going to U-turn out. In comes the Sandslash looking to spin. Registeel is going to get off a big Seismic Toss, though, doing almost 30% to the Sandslash. The offensive switch into Azelf on the rocks. So this is going to either force out Sandslash or knock it out, preventing it from spinning. Yes, Psychic's going to knock out the Sandslash here. There's still no way in hell that could merit. Zapdos is going to come in, but it is probably in range of Psychic, isn't it? Yeah. In comes Lucario. That's Shine's last hope. Aura Spear. It's going to walk into a Scarf Aura Spear, get a crit, but Azelf's going to boom, almost knocking out Lucario. But we know Lucario's Scarf. This Infernape is also Scarf, so he can just come in here. Never mind, it's not Scarf and Lucario's faster, but it doesn't matter. Infernape lives. Gets Scarf for close combat. Weavile's going to die of rocks. The only thing that can come is Slowbro. Slowbro's down to just 17%. U-turn will knock out the Slowbro. U-turn's going to take Jake into victory here. Jake, you were chill on Ape. That's very cool. Gotcha. That's a very cool set. Yeah, so you will with Bison, but yeah, the power chance is always a risk, and with how important Infernape ended up being this endgame, getting paralyzed could have been bad. But you always had the Aromatherapy Vileplume, so that's a pretty safe, reliable way to heal it up. Chillon is very cool. I always like seeing Chillon in this gen. I think it's very good. I am into stuff like Snorlax and stuff like Dragonite or Lucario. Drifting. I think it probably lives 1. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure if it's running a good chunk of bulk, it should live from the Snorlax. Like, that seems pretty reliable. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're running, like, Chillonberry, you're probably gonna slack off. Very cool Infernape set. I do love me some fat Infernapes. I remember in one time in that custom Mega League GPL that I guess not many people know about, but I had a Mega Infernape that has a ton of bulk. I ran like slack off Willow in playoffs. That was a really cool set. But yeah, very good prep from Jake. Yeah. Slowbro lacks Vileplume Sandslash mirror is insane. I am I've seen like top tier core mirrors. I've never seen 2 shitters plus a mid tier plus a Snorlax mirror. That's very funny. But yeah, go win by Jake 4-0, very dominant. And I believe that is his second game, so I believe that will put him in brackets if I remember correctly. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think this was your second win. So yeah, that's gonna bring Shine, I believe, down to 1-1. So Shine will need to win their last game to move on. Let's get on to the next one. Let's get over here to game number 7. Oh, that was your first game, Jake? Oh, gotcha. I was shocked because there are some I see on the dock when I'm like grabbing these replays. There are some, just because some of the mods are obviously getting them in advance. But yeah, let's go into the next matchup. We have Food versus Sosa. Hang on 1 second. Yeah, so we do see here. Sorry, I was checking one thing. Where's oh yeah, it's been cool. We do see Food on left, Sosa on the right. I think Food may have a win already. I don't remember. But let's get right into the matchup analysis. Sosa's T-Tar looks pretty solid here. There's Lucario, better than that. Not much really takes it on. Funnily enough, these are those matchups that I do like Trap Engine, although it's kind of bad in some things. It does live a +1 crunch from T-Tar and knocks it back out. It can run like a ton of defense, live a +1 crunch from T-Tar and knock it back out with Earthquake. Very funny. Trap Engine's not a good Pokemon for 1 point. I was convincing my boy Nightmare to draft it for his 1-pointer. And we're just running crazy calcs with this thing. It's very funny. I don't think it actually comes, but if it does, that's like a thing it can do. We do see 2 Starmies on both sides. Sosa's Starmie looks very strong here. The War Resist are Starmie itself and Roselia. And Mismagius is an okay spin blocker, but Mismagius is a bit rough spot because T-Tar can't Pursuit Trap it. Even Umbreon can Pursuit Trap it too. So Double Dark is going to make Mismagius' life pretty rough. We do see a Mamoswine here. Mamoswine looks okay, but Bronzong is pretty good into it. But however, Bronzong does let in the opposing Bronzong in the Zapdos. So there's actually a Starmie and a Bronzong mirror. Wow, lots of mirrors tonight. But anyway, another thing I noticed is that Food's Lucario looks crazy here. You just need to chip down the Celebi into range of E-Speed, and nothing else really wants to take a hit. You do have to watch out for Arcanine. In offensive Arcanine, Sosa's side can actually be very powerful, even just defensive with Flare Blitz. Nothing really wants to come in outside the Starmie, and obviously Starmie, if you pressure it, you can get into range of maybe a Scarf, T-Tar, Crunch, or Pursuit, which would be really good, or a range of a Scarf Celebi move. I think Scarf Celebi isn't bad here at all. Grass is decent. His team tricking the Bronzong's really good. Even tricking the Zapdos could be nice. If you're Scarf, you can just Earth Power the Lucario, since you'll probably live a Pursuit speed anyway if you have a bit of bulk. Food Zapdos looks pretty good, but the T-Tar is a bit of a problem, as are the Gastrodon and the Umbreon. I think overall I do probably have to lean towards... this is kind of an even matchup, it's hard to say. But I think both sides have tools for each other here, so I think it should be pretty interesting. Let's just get into the game then. See Food on the left and Sosa on the right. We see Tyranitar lead into Lucario, so Lucario's going to put on a ton of pressure right here. But it's going to double into Mamoswine. Celebi comes in as well. Celebi's good. Grass Knot. Mamoswine does reveal a Sash. Makes sense. Get up its rocks for free. It's probably just going to Ice Shard here, if I presume. Or it's going to switch Preserve as a sack. In comes the Zapdos on the Psychic. 38. That's a good chunk to the Zapdos. It's going to force it to Roost soon. Yeah, it's just going to Roost. Let Celebi go quick. Celebi's just going to paralyze the Zapdos. It's really big. It now being sworn in T-Tar makes T-Tar a gigantic threat. So I can do a ton of damage. You're already off a crit U-turn of Zapdos. That's a physically defensive Celebi if I ever see it. That only did 78 with the crit. That is unfortunate, but Gastrodon is a free switch into Starmie here. Signal Beam to hit the Celebi. That's going to bounce off the Gastrodon, and Starmie's going to take both Life Orb and a Sand Chip. He is packing the HP Grass, hit the Gastrodon pretty hard. Gastrodon can recover, but obviously he is going to be forced out here or just sacked. Umbreon is going to come in. Starmie's going to quick HP Grass again, presumably. But Starmie's taking a ton of damage here. If that is like a Scarf T-Tar, which leading it makes me think it very well might be, it could be immature. Umbreon's just going to baton pass out to Sosa's Starmie. Starmie into Mismagius. Mismagius is going to block the spin, keeping those rocks up, meaning that Celebi's going to stay very well. Bronzong is going to reveal as Sosa's last Pokemon. Mismagius is just going to quick Shadow Ball. And another huge crit. Life Orb crit Shadow Ball is going to do 83. Oh my god, that's gigantic for Food. Both crits so far being very big. Shadow Ball into T-Tar is going to do virtually nothing. I assume the T-Tar is Scarf and get Pursuit Trap it here. No, it's going to double into Umbreon. On the HP fighting, but that's going to do a good chunk. 34. Umbreon's in range of another one now. All these attackers are doing so much damage for Food. Obviously, the Protect's pretty good. Gets off another hit of Sand on the Mismag, but Mismag is still going to be able to fire off another huge attack here. Umbreon's going to get the double Protect. In this generation, do remember that Protect is a 1/2 each time, not 1/3. So it is a 50% chance to get a double Protect. Not that crazy. So Mismag is going to go down to just 19% here. Starmie is going to come out. It can obviously knock it out from this range. And Surf will take down the Mismagius. What is Food going to bring out here, though? Their own Bronzong in the last slot. Food's going to Bronzong. It's going to start Calm Minding. Very interesting set. I like that a lot in this match, actually. There's not a lot that, I'm forgetting the name now. I'm sorry. Sosa can do to deal with it. Bronzong Shadow Ball going to knock it out. What's Celebi get quick here? It is going to paralyze for hoping for full powers. That's about its only out. What's Celebi going to do? I mean, Celebi's going to switch into T-Tar, but Shadow's going to do a tiny bit of chip. T-Tar is going to crunch, but yeah, it's definitely a physical defensive Bronzong to do nothing. And HP Fighting is going to come out doing a ton of damage. And Bronzong's not going to get fully paralyzed. It reveals his last attack to be Flash Cannon. Starmie comes in, and he's going to need a crit here to win this game or a power. he is not going to get either, and Food will Shadow Ball to knock that out. Gastron's going to come in, he is going to recover, but Bronzong can continue Calm Mind, or it can just Shadow Ball. That's going to do virtually nothing, though, but with this Celebi dying to rocks, there's pretty much nothing that that Sosa can do anymore. Bronzong's getting our Calm Mind off, and even if he does manage to knock out the Bronzong with the Gastron, it's a bit too late. Ice Beam, ooh, it doesn't even have Surf, no. I guess I could Bronzong is full power a bunch of times, but no, this game is probably over. I mean, even if it does, it doesn't matter. There's our Mounting Nova, but yeah, Ice Beam. Good crit knock out the Bronzong, wow, but I think it's a little too late. Starmie's going to come in, he has already revealed the Hidden Power Grass. Quick Dad's going to do 70 to Gastron, but Gastron is going to survive it. Quick Recover. So Starmie's going to be taking 16% per turn. However, this Gastron's going to get very low, and obviously in Lucario range, it's not going to matter in the end game. Oh, it's in range of Hidden Power anyway. It doesn't have Protect, so the Starmie's going to go down here, but that is a 3-0 win for Food. I believe that puts Food in brackets. Very nice prep. Calm Mind Bronzong is not a set you see very often. It's one that you do. It's very easy to overlook, but if you in the right matchup, it's something you really need to respect. And clearly, this was the right matchup for it. There was very little Sosa could do to break it down. We also saw the Mismag with Life Orb and the Starmie's. A ton of offensive pressure here throughout the game. Getting that Sash up with Mailslime, preserving as a sack is probably smart. Although I think the Ice Shard Celebi might have been valuable since it didn't end up recovering, but it could have very well had recovered in the last slot, to be fair. Yeah, just pretty good win by Sosa. I mean, by Food with a very good Bronzong set. Nice job. Move on to our next game. We've got game number 8. We have SF Paul versus FK Shiloh. I believe SF Paul was already 2-0 and clinched. And I believe this is Shiloh's first game, if I remember correctly. So Shiloh is a very fat team. It's stalled pretty much with Gengar and Manectric as fast pieces to clean up an endgame. Whereas Paul is a more conventional team, balanced with some good offense. It does have, one thing I will say is Paul has very strong breakers. Dragonite, Porygon Z, and even Marowak are all very strong breakers. And this team does not enjoy dealing with them, especially with Porygon Z. I mean, Tri-Attack hits this team super hard. Thunderbolt for the Skarmory, and I guess you can remove for Gengar with Seki if you want, but I don't know if it's even necessary. Thunderbolt's going to do a ton to it. Something like, I don't know, like it outspeeds those things anyway. Like a Nasty Plot could be really good, or even just like a Specs. I think Specs Porygon Z looks fantastic here. You can even run Scarf if you want, which I can see that. I don't know if I would, but it is a viable set here. Dragonite's also quite solid. I think Special or Mixed is really good. Like Draco Meteor, Superpower, Flamethrower is pretty strong here. And the Marowak is not bad. Earthquake is going to do a ton of damage to everything not named Skarmory. Even the Hippo takes a lot. And it can easily Fire Punch. I think there's even opportunities for the Marowak to get an SD off here. You have to watch out for Drapion or Clefable knocking you off, though, because that will remove pretty much all your firepower. On Shiloh's side, the defense does look, it's a stall team is pretty decent here. Hippo in particular is a bit frustrating for SF Paul to deal with outside Breloom and PZ. The Drapion is also a huge piece on Shiloh's side. I think that's going to be a big part of this game. If you can remove the Tentacruel and get Taka Spikes up, it could help, but that's going to be easier said than done. And the Clef on Shiloh's side does look pretty solid here. You just have to watch out for Breloom and Dragonite cooking fighting moves. Yeah, I think I lean Paul just because his breakers are so strong, but Stall can always find a way. So let's get into it. Shiloh with this awesome Roaring Moon guarding a dungeon horde of gold avatar. I love to see it. Then if my computer will load, please, we can start the game. Give me 1 second, everyone. It's being annoying. All right, let's do. Sorry, everyone. Give me a second. Shiloh's really good. He used to be Roses on. Oh, wow. Shiloh is Roses? I did not know that. Yeah. I know the name Roses very well. I just did not know Shiloh is that same person. Wow. I remember a Gold Mason actually asked me specifically to. Gold Mason donated the prize, but he specifically said instead of giving it to himself, he wanted to get a couple people in. Shiloh was one of them. I had no idea this was Roses. That's terrifying. Well, the best small players of all time with a team that's fat. That's really scary. Is this going to Flamethrower do virtually nothing to the Hippo, but he's going to get a burn on turn 1. Yes, that's very impressive. I just did not recognize that Roses had changed their name. Wow. I'm kind of in shock that this person is playing in my tournament. It's kind of an honor. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, Marowak's gonna come in as they pound on. Is gonna slack off. Yeah, I'm kind of. I feel honored, honestly. Marowak is gonna quick substitute here, but Charmin can just whirlwind or roar it out. It's gonna Brave Bird to break the sub instead. It's gonna quick Fire Punch or Thunder Punch here, or Swords Dance. Oh wow. Toxic is gonna get the Marowak, but Marowak's Fire Punch. That's just gonna knock out this Skarmory here. Shadow can just bring in somebody to revenge. Yeah, Gengar can come in here. Forces out the Marowak. In comes the Spiritomb. It's a very good Gengar check. Takes only 38 from Shadow Ball and can't frighten this Gengar in return very well. Gengar's going to switch. The Spiritomb is not going to Sucker Punch. It's going to Dark Pulse. Can do a tiny bit of Chip and Powdon though. But no lefties on Spiritomb means it's getting very well here. Is it running Rest? It is running Rest. That makes sense. Yeah, and the Chester was going to wake it up, but Earthquake's going to do not much to burn. And we are going to see Spiritomb start Calm Minding, okay. Calm Mind Spiritomb is one of my favorite sets into bulkier teams. I think it's very tough for them to break down. Dark Pulse doing a bit to Hippowdon. That's especially defensive Hippowdon. This isn't going to be doing much damage. Gonna slack off here. Spiritomb's going to get off another Calm Mind. He is risking getting crit Earthquake though and knocked out every time. In comes the Drapion on the rest turn, so this is pretty good here. What's Drapion gonna do in Spiritomb's face? Is he gonna like Swords Dance? Yes, it is gonna Swords Dance in fact. Making it up to +4 as Spiritomb was forced to stay asleep. Marowak's gonna come in, but Drapion speeds that. It's just gonna knock it out with Crunch. Drapion's very scary. Azelf's gonna come in, obviously has HP ground here, but it could be Shuckle, or it's just gonna boom. But trading the Azelf for the Drapion, that's an interesting trade. Paul's Porygon-Z is gonna come in, as does Gengar, as does a Clefable. Tri-Attack is only gonna do 39 to Hippo, but that burn from earlier from the Flamethrower is gonna put it in range. Another Tri-Attack will take out Hippowdon. Shivo can't go into Gengar here because this Porygon is presumably Choice. It's going to miss the Focus Blast though. Oh no. It's not Choice. Wow, Dark Pulse is going to knock out that Gengar. And Shivo getting a lot of bad luck here with the Flamethrower burn and the Focus Blast miss. Max's going to come in. Thunderbolt's not going to knock out. And Tri-Attack's definitely going to take it out, yeah. Paul is just going to win, beating one of the best singles players of all time here. Wait, it was just a soft-boiled expectation. But yeah, it's Recover. Is it packing Encore? No, it's just going to start Calm Minding. Wait, this game isn't over yet. Knock off, let's see. Clef can continue Calm Minding. But if this Dragonite has Superpower, it could be a bit rough. Dragonite is just going to Outrage. That only does 56. Does Clef have Ice Beam? It does. Can Clef pull it back? It's going to knock out for the Yachi Berry. Wait, this game is not over yet. Porygon-Z is going to come in. Is Tri-Attack going to knock out from 41? It is not. Clef can start Soft Boiling. Paul's actually going to need a crit here. Tri-Attack doing or a freeze, I guess, from Tri-Attack can't freeze, in fact. Clef is actually maybe going to pull this back. Oh my god. Focus Blast Ice Beam. No, and the freeze I spoke into existence. I'm so sorry. Oh my god. And a crit. Wow. That's incredibly unfortunate about crits and Flamethrower Burn and freeze. I mean, my god. That's very unfortunate for Shivo. Paul does take home the win. I believe this was Paul to 3-0, probably guaranteeing a bye. This brings Shivo down to, I believe, 1-1. So Shivo is going to need to win their last game to move on. I mean, I'm confident they will with their resume. Now I know it's roses, but still, I mean, Paul just hacks the hell out of Shivo here. I will say, though, Paul's sets were very good. I liked his prep. I think his prep was good, but he still would have been, like, his prep was very good. I do like Paul's prep a lot here. However, I think it doesn't, I mean, even with his good prep, Shivo definitely should have won that game every time, so unfortunate, but let's move into the next one. On to game number 9. I don't. Fair enough. I mean, Drifting. I don't know Smogon that well. It's just if it's a name that I've heard frequently, I'm probably going to assume it's one of the best players ever because I just don't play Smogon that frequently. So I don't know. He's not best of all time, but he's very, very good at least. And I mean, I've seen the name Roses since I've been keeping on Smogon since Gen 4, and even obviously in Gen 7 I started picking up draft and stopped playing like ladder and stuff. But that's a name I've been seeing for years and years and years now. Let's get into the game. We have a Rise Heart versus Wombat. I don't know a Rise Heart. Wombat is a player in my league. Consistently does pretty well in our top divisions. Of course, there's a whole different thing. A little familiar to the last one. Fair enough. Fair enough. I start with what happens. So, getting into the matchup, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we will see. Wombat's Infernape looks quite solid here. Grass Knot into the Swampert. Rock coverage for the Moltres if you want. It's also very useful here to revenge the T-Tar with a fighting stab like Mach Punch. Flygon is solid here. I mean, yes, Swampert's a decent check. Togekiss isn't that great of a check, though. It does not take taking Outrage. It's not a Fairy type right now. I will say Orisar's T-Tar is pretty difficult for Wombat to switch into. However, it's not hard to revenge with Infernape and Flygon, so in Sceptile, so I think it probably just could be like a banded T-Tar if I had to guess, and Crunch is pretty spammable. Yes, Empoleon can't come in on it. It does just darken this gen, but it's going to take a lot of damage and get worn down really fast. And wearing down Empoleon's big because Gengar can go crazy if Empoleon goes down or Chansey goes down. In addition, the Magnezone trapping the Empoleon's like this Empoleon's under so much pressure this game. It's insane between Magnezone and Gengar and T-Tar and even Swampert and Hitmontop. Like the Empoleon has to come, but it's not happy. But Wombat's not happy about having to bring it. Yeah, Wombat's Flygon looks pretty solid here, I will say. I know. I think I have to give the matchup to a Charizard here, just because Empoleon's kind of the one thing holding this entire team together. He just has so much that pressures it. And the other really good defensive piece, Uxie, is just neutered by T-Tar Gengar. So let's get into the game. Charizard on the left and Wombat on the right. We see a Gengar lead out to Chansey as Infernape is switched out. But it's going to click a substitute here. Focus Blast is going to do 29 of Chansey. That's not bad damage, but Chansey's going to be packing Psychic, not letting this thing sub. Gengar's going to click sub again, but sure change Chansey can... Oh, calling the Thunder Wave, though. But Chansey now knows he can just spam Psychic going forward. Pain Split on Gengar, though, very good prep. Obviously, Pain Split is a very common tech into Chansey and Blissey. It makes perfect sense here. Switching out the Gengar on the soft boil into Magnezone. Magnezone's just going to boom, and that Chansey's going to go down. I mean, I know. I mean, I don't know what you could have done to scout for, like, he'll go and pull me on me, but that's not very an intuitive play. That boom was pretty free. To fake out into the Armaldo. Armaldo's going to rocks as, Hitmontop's going to cook Revenge, just going to do, like, virtually nothing. We do know his Technician, though, because it didn't reveal Intimidate. Earthquake's going to do some good chip. Hitmontop can spin it away. Armaldo getting up rocks. Hitmontop is going to quick Revenge again. And Hitmontop is going to win this exchange. Spin again. Armaldo can quick Earthquake. But again, like, Hitmontop will win this exchange in the long term, most likely. Stealth Rock. Hitmontop's going to quick Revenge. Yep, continuing to hit it. Hitmontop going to spin again. Armaldo's going to Earthquake. Yeah, we're just going to continue the sequence. Or he's just going to Rocks here. Interesting. I get it, but I is letting the Hitmontop start healing. Earthquake, get off another 30%. Rocks up, Hitmontop Revenge. Hitmontop's going to spin. What's Armaldo going to do? Armaldo's going to click Earthquake. So he can't click Rocks again, though, now. He's going to do his Hitmontop going to spin. No, it's just going to Revenge. That's not going to knock out the Armaldo, though. Hitmontop's close to range of Earthquake. He's going to get off the spin, though. Armaldo's got Earthquake, getting a crit, knocking it out. So, but Armaldo's going to have trouble getting Rocks back up being this low. Gengar's going to come in and knock it out with Shallow Ball. So what's Wombat going to bring into Revenge? He's going to bring in the Flygon. In comes Moltres. Flygon is just going to Crunch. That's a bounce off this physically defensive Moltres. But he's also packing Toxic. So let's go start wearing down Moltres. Moltres get Toxic the Flygon as well. Flygon is packing Protect. So let's go continue to wear down Moltres as Moltres fires off a Flamethrower. And Flygon's just going to Crunch. Again, doing some chip. Moltres is going to cook Substitute, though. Interesting play with it, with the Moltres Toxic, however. Crunch is not going to break the sub, and Moltres can Roost, but, like, it's in... I don't know. I don't know if I agree with the Substitute play into when you're already Toxic. You're taking so much damage here. Flygon's going to Crunch. Moltres can Roost, but, I mean, it's taking 30% from Toxic. It's going to add up really fast. I guess the Flygon is getting very well, though. In comes Empoleon as Moltres Roost again, but it's definitely going to be forced out here. It's taking way too much chip. Gengar comes in on the Empoleon. As Empoleon clicks Agility, it's an offensive set. Hydro Pump does 95 to Gengar. Gengar barely lives, but it misses a Focus Blast. Oh, no. I'm not sure if that Focus Blast was... Giant, I do 10 per stream. This is game 9. This is 10 per stream. So, Hiram's good. Yeah. Superpower's good. Bring this Empoleon down super low. It's Sash, so the Focus Blast will not have KO'd, but obviously... Well, actually, wait. If the Focus Blast hit, like... The Focus Blast hits you, bring it down to Sash, then Hydro Pump... Then it'll be in Torrent range, and Hydro Pump will... How many... Oh, yeah, just one more. So, the thing is, you bring the Empoleon down low with Focus Blast. Assuming it gets into Torrent range, though, Hydro Pump is now an Oko on T-Tar with the Torrent boost. So, like... I don't know how much the miss mattered. Like, this Empoleon getting the Torrent boost would have achieved the same thing. Ice Beam into Togekiss. Ooh. I think it should have just Hydro Pump there. Hydro Pump would have done more damage. Anyway, Hydro Pump would have done, I believe, base 270. Ice Beam only does base 180 there. 190 there. So, yeah, Hydro Pump was definitely a better play. Hydro Pump might have even O-code, but that freeze is going to get, bail him out. So, I will say, I don't think that Focus Blast mismattered, but I do think the freeze obviously is a big deal. But I don't think the Focus Blast mismattered that much because, like, it will just put him in Torrent range and your T-Tar goes down anyway. But yeah, this Agility Empoleon, it's a very good setting DP and for a reason, but that Ice Beam flinch did get very lucky. Albeit, there weren't a lot of pieces left for Rise Heart at that point anyway, so I think the Empoleon was Scarf Togekiss, okay. Well, we still don't know Wombat's Pokemon in the back, though. It could have been like you said. I guess like if you get enough Air Slash flinches, sure. But we don't know what Wombat's last Pokemon is. The freeze obviously freeze was obviously huge. I just think the Hydro Pump miss was not actually that important, but the freeze was gigantic, obviously. But Wombat is gonna get his first win, and we were supposed to play his first game, so Wombat's gonna move up to 1-0. And on to our final game of the night. Getting to game 10. If my shitty laptop will work eventually. One day my shitty laptop will agree. Okay, it's really bad tonight. Wow. My computer... Is it going to crash on the 10th game again? This happened before, I swear to God. I'm actually going to scream if that happens again, because it happened before. Let's reload the dock fully then. Sorry about technical difficulties, everyone. My computer sucks. I am streaming on a laptop, so that, kind of explains it. You'll exit the page here. Oh, come on, you can do it, computer. Shit. It's obviously really... Right, let's try this again. Of course, it's always on the last game this happens, where I'm like one away from finishing it. Okay, it's just not... Oh, yeah. Let's try it again. Okay. On to game number 10. Perfect. It seems to be working now. Very slowly. Yep, we'll go down to game 10 here. Last game of the night, we see Ava versus Freeday. Freeday, a very well... at least in the draft circles, a very well-known old gen player. Had made deep ADV and DPP runs in pretty much every event he's played in. I believe he's already 2-0 in this game. Is taking on Ava, who is 1-0. So Freeday obviously wants to clinch the bye. Ava wants to try and get into brackets with this. So we do see a Suicune mirror here. And both sides have decent counterplay to it, but Ava's is a bit more limited. Shaman's just such a solid Suicune check in general. Ava does have Zapdos Leafeon, but Leafeon can't get pressured, and Zapdos obviously doesn't always 1v1 Suicune. You need specific prep on both of them to make it work. I will say, though, Ava's Azelf looking fantastic here. The Honchkro's probably forced to come for it, because not much else can really revenge it very well. You could like Scarf Miss Mag, but that just lets in Registeel to fire off a T-Wave and paralyze something, which you really don't want. I will say Freeday getting up Hazard is going to be big, because Claydol can't really spin into Miss Magius very well. Whereas Fortress can spin into Ava's team very easily, because there's no Ghost type. I don't know. This is a pretty basic matchup here. Blaziken is looking okay, but Suicune does kind of hard shit on it. I think I'm going Freeday because their Suicune is in a bit of a better position here. Let's get into our last game of the night. Ava on the left, Freeday on the right. We see Claydol and Nidoking lead. Nidoking's just got a Mega Horn turn 1 doing a ton of damage as Claydol's got Earthquake. Nidoking is going to get up rocks as Claydol's also going to get up its rocks. But it's got a Mega Horn here. I feel like you had to switch... I feel like you had to switch out the Claydol there so you can potentially spin later. Azelf's going to come in, quick Shallow Ball, knock out this this Neo King. Miss Maggie's going to come in for free day. Pretty obvious Registeel coming in. But it's going to be Meanwhile. This is definitely a Perish Trap set then. Go protect for some extra recovery money as well. It is packing Shadow Claw to Miss Magus, but I doubt that does enough damage. Maybe just get a quick Perish Strong. Shadow Claw's going to do. It does 53. Okay, maybe. Oh, no, I don't think it's enough. Yo, if this is going to play it out of range. Obviously, Miss Magus can protect here unless Registeel gets a Shadow Claw crit next turn. He is going to go down. Shadow Claw is a high crit rate. Oh, no, it's packing Substitute anyway. Never mind. Registeel is going down here. And Registeel going down is going to potentially open up Friday's Shaman heavily. Miss Mac can just switch into Fortress. Yeah, you obviously boom your Registeel there since it's going down anyway. Fortress is the best switch in to, take that hit. Azef's going to come in, but Miss Mac's going to come back in. It's probably going to go down to a fire move here. Yeah, Flamethrower. Not even going to knock it out, but Azef should outspeed anyway. Clicking Shallow Ball. I feel like you always Flamethrower of Azef just because you don't want to give away the information that you're not choiced. Like, they know you aren't Specs, but like you don't want to give away the information that you're not Scarf. Scarf Azef, it does look decent in this matchup. So I feel like you don't want to give away that information by Shallow Ball. You always Flamethrower there, in my opinion. Shaman's going to come and take 50 from Flamethrower. Firefall Leech Seed, though. He's going to start chipping Azef very handily. Azef's going to click Flamethrower, but Shaman will survive. He's going to click Synthesis. Yes, it is. And this Azef is not going to break down that Shaman. Azef's going to switch out to Zapdos. And Shaman is all the way back to full now. Getting off another Leech Seed. Zapdos can roost, but this Shaman is looking in prime position with that Registeel down. Go quick Hand Power, Ice or Rock. Well, those two. Heat Wave is going to hit the Shaman. Oh, let's look at the matchup. See, yeah. Based on this matchup, it's probably HP Ice just because it also hits the Leafeon. So that was good. U-turn out, expecting Shaman to switch, but Shaman's just going to stay in Simp here. Blaziken comes in. Fortress is going to be the sack here. Earthquake's not going to knock it out. In this thing, it might be Custab. Nope, Earthquake's just going to knock out the Fortress here. I've seen a surprising lack of Custab berries this term, and I'm very surprised by that. Anyway, Suicune's going to come in, and we see the Suicune on Ava's side coming in as well, as Frida Suicune's going to start Calm Minding. Are we going to have a Calm Mind War on our hands? Yes, we are. What is Frida going to do? He's just going to substitute, though. Interesting. Ava's Suicune going to cook HP Sugar Grass, but there is the Roar. Roar Calm Mind Suicune is very calming in the Suicune Mirror. Thunderbolt's going to bounce off this. That might just be the end of the game. Yeah, Roar Calm Mind is very, very calming in the Suicune Mirror, especially in TPP. So I was going to come in Thunderbolt, but that's not going to knock out Surf. And even though, we'll see, is this Blaziken scarfed? It presumably is, but she's bringing it in here. Earthquake is going to knock it out, but it is a free Shaman. Obviously, because we know it's Scarf now. Suicune, you just a quick Seed for here. Expect this Suicune to come in, right? Let's go Leech Seed, though. You do go after the Blaziken, but let's Shaman go quick. Sure, we have move to hit this. Yes, Seed Flare does a 27. That's not bad damage. What's Frida's last Pokemon? Oh, no, it walks into Earthquake. What is Frida's backup, potentially? In the back, Frida. Oh, Heatran, I see. So Ava's going to go for Earthquake, expecting Heatran in the back, but Shaman's going to stay in Seed Flare. That's going to be the end of the game. Blaziken dies to Rocks now. Good play by Frida. There's really no reason to go Heatran there. There's no reason to go Heatran there because, like, you're risking weighing in Suicune and weighing and start Calm Minding. So, yeah, good play by Frida, recognizing that, and Shaman's just going to win this game. So, yeah, a very good performance by Frida. Good Mega Horn at the start, just keeping those rocks up, and then the Meanwhile Perish Song, Miss Maggie is doing work into this Registeel, of course. Shaman doing Shaman things. I mean, we see Synthesis, Seed Flare, your Haven Power of Choice is a very common say and very good for that reason with its bulk. And this team did not enjoy breaking that down. And just the Calm Mind Roar Suicune, pretty easy check to the opposing Suicune, Very well played by Frida. Only a 2-0 win, but it was pretty dominant in my opinion in terms of actual gameplay. That's going to call it for the night. So have a good night, everyone. I have a draft game in 6 hours versus